Gentry Day. It means respect and remembrance. We remember those who have passed, both in the last year and in the years gone by. Amid the noise, the excitement, everyone had a silent moment at the most recent Gentry Day. There are only two things certain in life, and that is tax and death. Gentry Day is a bonus. On one level, it means having a few beers with my travelling companions, but it's way more than that. It's being respectful and considerate to what Gentry Day is all about. It means representing the name of Preston North End a long way from home and showing respect to our hosts inside and outside the ground. Gentry Day means remembering. It means bowler hats. It means enjoying the day, meeting up with old friends, and it means cheering the boys on to what we always hope will be victory. At the last one, I remembered Ricky Heppelet's header and the scenes at the final whistle. We all remember the good times 2 generations ago. But we stood proud before the kick-off. We remembered all those from every era. The people who wore and represented the famous lily white and navy blue, off the field as well as on it. Gentry Day is going strong. Many will be watching our unique experience, our very special away days out. All we have to do is not disappoint them, or ourselves, or football. We hope that, like Alan Ball said all those years ago, they will say that the Preston supporters aren't just fans, they are Gentry.
Gentry Day really is a solid manifestation of what is normally a diffuse wave of emotion that actually comes together in a really enjoyable focus, which is not just about football, it's actually about the celebration of being, of what a day out means and what Preston means to you and what it means to your friends and your family, and also it's come quite interestingly to be a commemorative event too.
I think the Gentry Day is a fantastic day for celebrating people who are not there anymore. It brings people together. It's a fun day. All ages, kids, adults, dressed up. Gets the message out to other clubs that it's more than football really.
Gentry history comes from North End had a manager called Alan Ball, Senior. And then he got talking about, after North End fans away at a game in Fulham, he commented on the away supporters that were there, and he described them as not just the fans, the Gentry. So following on from that, the North End fans that were going away at the time, which there weren't that many of them, started wearing suits, pinstripes and bowler hats to away games. And then it kind of picked on and that took off over the time at that time.
Good. We're taking both Preston's Fulham in our annual Gentry Day. I managed to get what looks like a bowler hat, but apparently it's
Yeah, my first recollection was probably very early 60s when it was Tom Finney's testimonial game after he retired. At the time family used to have tickets in the South Pavilion stand, and I used to sit on the front row on there, seat 44. I know that because we used to have Irish number 44, so the number's that. And I remember, what would be 4.5, 5 maybe? I remember saying, there's a lot more people on tonight than what there had been. And obviously it must be, I don't know how many months it was after Tom had retired. And that was a memory.
We used to go to mainly all the home games, but the reserve games as well. And we used to walk up Moore Park Avenue to go to the match, and through winter as well. We used to be absolutely freezing cold. We were standing in those days, and we were so cold at the end of winter games that we couldn't feel our feet. And to keep warm, we'd run a tree and walk a tree all the way back down the Park Avenue just to kind of warm ourselves up. And they are all good memories, you know, as cold as it was. They are good memories that I have of going to see them in my early days.
My first memory of almost anything actually is a football memory. I was on the football with my dad and stood behind a corner flag not knowing what was going on. I had no idea what football was, didn't know what the rules were. I was probably 3 or 4. And I remember this old guy with a bald head who was standing in front of me about to take a corner. Later on I realised that was Bobby Charlton, ex World Cup winner. But yeah, so it's been in my blood and been with me ever since I was 3 or 4, and I think it will always be that way.
The first time I started coming regularly was the 70-71 season, which was the Alan Ball Gentry season. So I was kind of lucky enough to just be the right age as well, because I was just kind of school leaving age then. So I was old enough to start travelling to away games as well, so that made even more of a difference, because obviously it's a bit more of a click when you're away from home, because you tend to travel most weeks with the same people and get to know people better and feel more part of it.
I got my first season ticket 50 years ago. I was lucky my birthday was in August, so I got it for my birthday present. I used to go on the reserve games at Deepdale, the home games, the away games. I got involved with the women's game, so the ladies, North End ladies, we started up, and been involved for 50 years with ladies football.
Steve Pisano. I'm here representing the Gentry, but I'm an honorary member. Who has the Fulham Football Club tie. I'm from the Association of Fulham Football Club, but I'm loving the occasion today and may the best team win.
Yeah, obviously the Gentry year itself, 70-71, comes to mind. You know, Alan Ball, the manager then, he christened us the Gentry because we just, you know, the way we got to games and then was, for me, especially I was only, I think it was at college or whatever, I can't remember that far back. I used to hitchhike to the games, or there was a greyhound, Preston Greyhounds in Eckergate Lane. I lived near there, so I used to go in there and place bet. So basically, if you come first, second or third, you got your money back plus a bit extra. So you didn't usually lose your money. You can instead of put it on the favourite, you know, if you got 3 chances of getting it. So I used to do that in the race and usually come out with more than I went in. So that paid for the away game. But sometimes if I didn't win, I'd hitchhike it there, and with John Tracy, my friend, and we did every game. And that was special, and we won the championship, as you know, and we went back into second division, now the championship.
About the Gentry meaning to me, he was speaking about when the fixtures come out, you look at Christmas, New Year, opening game, when's Gentry Day? So now it's like in the mindset of Preston fans, when's Gentry Day? People are arguing about it, people are debating about it, and it seems to be the main thing. So that makes me proud that we've done that. It's an important thing, it's there every year. And then there's nothing like when you get there and you see, because not so bad now, everyone knows about it, it's took off. But in the early days of bringing it back, you'd get to an away game, you'd be wearing your suit and you're out and you'd be thinking, oh, somebody else is going to do this. But now it's just assumed that everyone's going to do it. The club talk about it, the manager talks about it. It's like part of Preston North End. So it is proud when I think about it. It does mean a lot to me, definitely.
I think Gentry Day, in its original form, was about remembering, and still is, about remembering those who've passed away. But to me, it means the coming together of a group of supporters with a unique experience at a football club at Preston North End. It means a day out. Yes, it means a couple of beers, but it means more than that. It means remembering specifically the people that have passed away in the last 12 months who were all North End fans, but remembering everybody associated with the club that's no longer with us. It's a celebration. It's very sweet, and for some people, it will be bitter, particularly those who have lost people in the last, in the last 12 months. Of course, the football is important. If we win the game, it's all, it's a lot better. But on Gentry Day itself, it is about, the 7 o'clock train, wherever we're going, right through to getting home at midnight. It's just the Gentry Day experience.
With Gentry Day in particular, that is very much about having one day of the year when all the fans can come together and actually think back about their lost friends and family. But it's not just that, it's more a celebration as well. So being a North End fan is obviously quite trying at times. So it's about having a good day out, being able to have a joyous celebration of who we are, and try to emphasise the North Ender in us all a little bit more and push it a bit more and show everyone what it's like to be sort of loud and proud and be a proud Prestonian.
Yeah, I mean, once Alan Ball had called it the Gentry, a bit of the fashion at the time anyway was for sort of suede heads, so we'd kind of wear Abercrombies and carry umbrellas and have a little handkerchief in your top pocket with a Lancashire badge on, and so it was sort of smartly dressed then, although perhaps the jeans and boots were not quite in fitting with the rest of the outfit.
I am Southend United, I have to say. So,
but yeah, get the Gentry.
Preston today. And I've got an enormous head, so you're struggling. You're struggling to get this on.
How did the Gentry come about second time round? Well, what it were, we'd had a fans forum, I think it was in Leyland, with Billy Davis at the time, who was North End manager. And sadly, a couple of days before, there was a well-known Preston fan called John Tracy, who sadly passed away. And on our forum that I'm involved in, a lot of people got talking about John and his friends and his family and mentioning that he was part of the original Gentry. So we'd been to this forum and everyone was telling tales about the Gentry and how it all went on at the time. And then in the car on the way back afterwards, there was a few of us in the car and we thought, wouldn't it be an idea to do something for John, to remember John, because he seemed, I didn't know him personally, but a lot of his friends and family, he was a real character of the time. So we just got thinking different ideas about, and one lad went bowler hats. So we thought, all right, yeah, it's a bit different, isn't it? Something to do. And then through the forum and through word of mouth, it got picked up, and then we picked QPR because it was a London one. The Gentry were associated with going to London games mainly. So quite a lot of us just got together and just wore, I think we mainly plastic bowler hats, a few bought proper ones, and we just made a big thing of it and called it Gentry Day.
One of the great things about Gentry Day is it's not just the supporters. I think it seems, and I'm not privy to what goes on in the dressing rooms, but it certainly seems that the players get it. They certainly have done over the years. Famously, David Nugent wore a bowler hat which was frisbeed to him by a member of the away support. He stuck it on his head and then frisbeed it back. I'm not sure, but I think that was away at Queen's Park Rangers.
I think my first memory of Gentry Day is the 2005 day at QPR, following on from John Tracy's very untimely death. Going around with all the fans, seeing the people come together, not actually knowing what would happen on the day, and then seeing almost 2,000 North Enders dressed in black suits and bowler hats, marching around London, coming out of White City Tube Station, marching up South Africa Road onto Queen's Park Rangers. One or two had had a libation or two in the morning and lunchtime, but everything was in fantastic spirit. Almost a bittersweet celebration of the loss of a very popular original Gentry member, and I think that 2005 sort of the iconic Gentry Day, although we've had one almost every year now for the last 12, 13 years.
I think the most recent one of the Gentry Day was the iconic boat on the Thames with the Fulham game. Just seeing all the fans waving, seeing all the people on the banks just looking and wondering what was going on. Obviously people who weren't attached to any football clubs thinking, well, I don't understand what's going on today. Yeah, so I think that's got to be one of the best ones.
We travelled by tube from the hotel we were staying at, and it meant going on one tube and then changing onto another tube and then getting off near the park and walk through. And there were two Fulham fans who were stood on the platform at the first station with us, who then got in the same carriage as us. Then I didn't know they were Fulham fans particularly at the time. They got off at the same station. We then changed to another tube and they got on the same tube and the same platform. We then got off and ended up walking through the park together. And it was only as we started approaching the ground, they started asking, what is all this about? What are you doing? Because I don't think they realised we were going to football because we were dressed, and then obviously we were. And it was more a case of just saying, look, this is about something special, about the generations of Preston fans, and us not forgetting them and celebrating them. And they were quite touched by it, really. The two I was talking to on the way in and things like that. I think people look at you in bemusement, but friendly bemusement, you know, and smiling and thinking, I don't know what this is about, but it looks all right.
I am the Deputy Chairman of Preston North End FC and I'm the Chairman of Youth Club. And I'm here today because I go to nearly all the away games, but I'm specifically here because it's Gentry Day.
To be a kit man is like a dream come true really. I feel like I'm representing every Preston fan in those changing rooms on a Saturday and during the week. You know, I never fail to tell the lads about our history and how much it means to us. I remember giving the captain's armband to Ben Pearson. I said, this is so special moment for you. And I talked about the history of the club, and every time I'd given it him, I held it back for ages. He was like, wow, you know, so the lads all know the history, probably because I just never shut up about it. And hopefully I'm helping in my small way, you know, to lads. But I know anyway, there's such a great team spirit here, you know. They love playing for Preston because it's such an honest club, right through the staff, the media team, the chairman, everybody, we're all together.
Well, I think Gentry Day will get bigger each year, and it will get more themed and more specific, and be more organised, and more fans will just take part in it. And I think the idea is that each year will become more of a festival, more of a celebration of all the different things that it means. So, you know, people can take from it what they want, but at least everyone knows that there's one day of the year where you can go to an away match and have a fantastic day and just enjoy being a Preston fan. Win, lose or draw, no matter how we're doing in the league, at least we know that we can have a good day out.
It is more than family, and I think the success of a football club is also more than about results and the players. It's about the supporters as well and how they can enrich the club. And by bringing Gentry Day into it, it gives the fans an identity and brings them together, and also shows the youth, because I think there's also a lot of competition to support a successful team. And I think if we can have an identity with the Gentry Day, it gives the youngsters something to get involved in.